Well, Coach, the Broncos are coming off a sweep of Minnesota Duluth, a 4-0 win and a 4-1 win on Saturday. Reading some of the stuff in the Duluth media, the biggest thing they kept bringing up was the distinct lack of scoring chances and odd man rushes for the Bulldogs. Is that something you guys focus on in terms of eliminating, or are you just more worried about keeping the puck away from them?
Well, I think it's a combination of both, Adam. We certainly, when you're playing a team as powerful as Duluth, and a team that once they get it down below your circles, they can grind on you, and you're either taking a penalty or they're creating a scoring chance. So I thought, our emphasis certainly was on tight gaps all over the ice in all three zones. And, I thought the best part of our weekend, certainly Alex gave us the kind of goaltending you need to be successful, but it was our gap work defensively in terms of our defensemen getting right up on them at the red line and not really allowing them to get any opportunity to generate speed through the neutral zone, which gives you your outnumbered situations or forces the defense to back off. So we were up on them real tight. And then I thought the effort of our forwards coming back. So we had pressure from behind on them, and we had tight frontal gaps. And I thought that was effective. And then certainly there's no question our forecheck was real good. We were leaning on them in their zone, and great second man support. Our first guy was making contact, and our second guy was in getting the puck. So we had a lot of puck possession time, and that's very important when you're playing a team like Duluth.
Coach, it looks like you had a little size advantage too on Duluth, and certainly your defensemen are bigger than their D-men.
Well, I'd like to think that's an advantage against most teams in our league. There's some big teams, but we don't have to take second place to anybody in terms of size. But the other side of it is some of our smaller guys. That Cole Gallant, for example, was very effective in terms of his physical presence and pressure on the puck. And other guys, Luke Granger. You take a look at our lineup, and from top to bottom, I thought we had everybody involved physically there. That's the nature of our games against a Duluth or against a North Dakota. They're going to be physical games. You got to prepare for that. You got to be prepared to battle. We did a lot of battle drills in preparation for that series. And, it wasn't anything that we did not expect. It was everything we expected. We knew they were going to come hard at us the second game, which they did. First 5 or 6 minutes, they were hitting everything that moved with a Bronco jersey on it. But we countered. We came right back at them and counterpunched, and we got our physical game going. And it was just physical hockey.
Coach, does Ty Glover's speed take teams by surprise? Because it seems at times Duluth didn't really expect him to be able to kind of blow by them or at least catch up to pursue the puck the way he did and his line did over the weekend.
I have to be very honest with you, Adam. Ty Glover's speed this whole year has surprised us because, we watched him play junior last year, and he has to take responsibility for his own situation. But he was just okay as a junior player last year, and there was some concern bringing him in as young as he is. He still could have played junior, but we felt a year of development with us. He came right into training camp, Adam, and to Ty's credit, he didn't take a backseat to anybody. He went out after it in every one of our brown and gold games, which we had a lot of them, obviously, with the lengthy preparation time we had. And he was scoring. He was physical. The key thing for Ty is he's got great speed. He needs to get physically stronger for his size, which will come in our training program here with Tim Herman. And then he just has to remember that he's a power forward and play a power forward game all the time. But pleasant surprise, great young man to work with. He's got a smile on his face all the time. And we got a group this year that listens very well. And he's one of that group.
Coach Ronnie Adder had a great weekend. How's his development been from year one to year two?
Well, I think certainly with Ronnie, I think when he got to our program, you talk about a record-setting year in the USHL with over 60 points when he joined us. And certainly he was acknowledged for his offensive play. I'd like to think that Ronnie's become a much more complete player now. He certainly has the shot. His skating has gotten better. He's more powerful in his stride, but he's taking more pride in his defensive work. And, I think now it's to the point where he's excited with a good check or a great poke check or a tight gap or a hit as he is with a goal. Now, that might be just a coach exaggerating it, but I'd like to think he believes that way, that he gets as much satisfaction. But there's no question when he scores a goal early in a game, it's usually a sign that he's going to be pretty excited. So I guess he does still thrive somewhat on that offensive play, but he's got that and always had it. It was just a matter of developing the other side. But he's continuing to get better, and we like his upside for sure.
Hey, Coach Murray. Can you talk about how the team's feeling heading into the break? Coming off the sweep against the nation's 4th-ranked team.
Good to see you, Patrick. Got a little longer hair than the last time I saw you. Are all the barbershops closed there? I like the style. Yeah, I mean, we played some good hockey. We went to St. Cloud and had that split up there. And to be very honest with you, we'd gotten some saves on Friday night. We thought we played very well there. So certainly our team has played better. We lost 2 games to Miami right after Christmas, our first 2 games after the Christmas break. And in both those games, we lost 5-1 and 3-1. And yet we thought we had the puck a lot, created chances. So our game has grown since the pod. We had a good short training camp before the second half of the season started after the pod. And, we got a pile of young guys that are getting better with experience.
Do you like the timing of this off week? And what's your team planning to focus on during the extra days off?
Well, if I said I didn't like the off week at this time, then that would be a negative. And I mean, you have to always take the glass half full perspective. I think it's a great time. Guys are excited. We had a great practice this morning, and we've got a lot of things that we can work on. And we're continuing to work on our speed. I think we do have a real fast team, but we want to get even faster. And to be faster, it's not so much the skating, it's moving that puck a little quicker. So we worked on that this morning, and we're going to focus on our gap work, our compete level. We try to emphasize that all the time. And, we remind our guys that, as you continue to move up in hockey, the game just becomes more serious. And that's the way it is right now at this time of the year. There's a lot of intensity in the air. We play 2 games, and then we're playing games where they tell you if you don't win, you're not going to play anymore this year. It doesn't get more intense than that. And there's no game that's a must-win game until you're in the one where you don't play anymore. And we're getting close to that.
Can you talk a little bit about how Alex has played in net, and what do you think the timing of the bye week does for him in particular?
Well, I'd like to think it's great for Alex. I think, it hasn't been, they haven't brought the news out yet as of this press conference, but he gave up 1 goal on the weekend and gave up 1 with 2 minutes to go in the game, on the second game, which he would take responsibility for that goal. But how he has to be the goaltender of the week in the NCHC. I don't know where they can go that they would find a guy that performed better. So I think the key thing for Alex is, when you're a young player, you sometimes have those really good games, which he's had those games, and certainly on the weekend was really good. And then they maybe drop off a little bit with their play in a game, but you can't go to the bottom. He's kind of been at the peak and then at the bottom here a little bit. We need him to, when maybe he doesn't have his A game, he's still got to have a game that's above average. And that's what we're looking for. And that comes with experience.
What kind of kids, like Andy? We haven't had an opportunity to be around your guys this year. What kind of young man is Alex Aslanidis?
Alex is a neat young guy. He's friendly. I think his parents are a real success story in the medical field, and he's an only child there. But he's a bright young guy. I think he hasn't been around this kind of intensity before. I think I probably scare him a few times out there, but we expect our goalies in practice to stop every shot. And if they let one in, we thought they should have stopped. We're not afraid to mention that to them. So, but he's a nice young guy. He's kind of got a neat sense of humor, unique sense of humor, I guess would probably be a better word, but popular with our players. And he's just growing as a goaltender, and certainly appears to love Western and everything that's going on here. So we're glad that he made the decision to come here for sure.
When you find hockey players all over the place, I know you recruit the USHL pretty hard, but where did you come up with this guy?
It was a tip that somebody gave us on him, and he was playing up in kind of northern Ontario there, and in probably not the top junior league in the country. Well, certainly not the top junior league in North America, but we watched some games, and his team wasn't very good, and he was stopping 50-something shots a night, and he's 6'5". You could tell he scrambled a little bit, and he needed to mature into his game. But we called him and talked to him, and he was excited. Coach Shayak went up and watched him play, and I don't know if Coach Shayak's a goaltending expert or not, but he liked him and liked his attitude. Tom Askey, our former volunteer goalie coach, watched him on a lot of video and thought he had an upside. And we weren't sure, to be honest with you, Robin, when we got into the pod early in training camp, what's this guy all about? Because he didn't look very good, to be honest with you. But a credit to him, I think everything was just kind of over his head at that point, and being in this kind of culture. And he came back after Christmas and seemed to be a different young man. Now we still got to keep him focused here, and we'll certainly mention to him he can't be goalie of the week and then the worst goalie the next week. So we're looking for that consistency. But to win in the NCHC, you've got to have above average goaltending, or you don't have a chance. So we're certainly hoping that he can provide that.
Final question from me. It's no surprise that Ronnie Attard can put the puck in the net, but your defense as a whole, seems to be getting a little bit more involved in the offense. Has that been a bigger point of emphasis for your team lately?
Well, we've always been a team that could generate offense from the blue line. If you look in recent years there, and certainly Cam Lee has moved on, and he's doing it in the American Hockey League. Matthias Samuelson's off to a great start there as well. So we certainly emphasize our defensemen getting up in the play. In fact, one of the drills we did today was to force our D-men. They didn't have a choice in the drill. The drill forced them to get up with the play and be the second guy on the attack. And, it's new to a lot of guys that come to our team because they're used to playing kind of conservative, and coaches didn't want them going on the attack. But the way that teams check now, you need that second wave of attack coming. And when you've got defensemen to get up with it, it helps you give you outnumbered situations. And, Coach Furschweiler spends a lot of time on shooting with our defensemen. And Cedric Fiedler, it was interesting. Sometimes you got a young guy, and he's kind of nervous. I said, "How many shots have you taken in practice this year, Cedric?" This was just a couple of weeks ago, and we've had a lot of practices. He said, "Probably 40." I said, 40, Cedric. This is in front. I said, "How about 4,000? I mean, you're shooting the puck about 40 times a day or more." But we work at it, and we want our guys getting up with the play. I mean, the first priority is to play solid defense and be physical, but if there's a chance to go.
Coach, your power play was dynamic this week, and you're up in the upper echelon in the country right now. I mean, you're in the top 10 in the power play. What's been the difference here lately?
Well, I think certainly we've had some good power plays in recent games, haven't scored, but I think it's just consistency, Robin. We work at. Coach Furschweiler's in charge of our power play, and Coach Cruz in charge of our PK. And certainly that 3-on-5 we had on Friday night for 2 full minutes was tremendous. But our power play, I think the key thing is we have 2 units, and we actually practice with 3 all the time, just so that we have some young guys that may not be on the power play this year, but they could be next year, and we want them ready. But I think it's consistency. We can send 1 unit out there, for example, with a Ronnie Attard on it with the hammer, and then we can come back with another unit with Mikey Giroux and an Ethan Frank with the hammer on it. So we can wear on you, and we're quick enough that we can get to loose pucks and keep the attack alive. I mean, the last power play we got with Cole Gallant, we call it the Sedin play, a pass from the side into a stick that you just you shoot it to the stick, and then the player there turns his stick towards the net, which happened with Cole. But what happened there is we got to every loose puck there. A puck went to the corner, we'd get a chance, we'd get it back, we'd get it loaded up again. And we just kept them under pressure. And I think it tends to wear your penalty killers out. And we know that from our penalty killing struggles that we've had at times. If you don't get it out the first time when you got a chance, you could be stuck in your zone and you just wear yourself out.
Coach, not taking penalties has been a big part of your success here this second half of the season. Was that an area of emphasis? Because last year probably took too many, and this year is really cut down on those.
Yeah, I think we've taken too many penalties, Robin, for 9 years. This is my 10th, and I think all other 9 years we probably took too many penalties. I mean, we like to be miserable to play against, but at times you have to be smarter. And right from the beginning of this season in the pod, you wouldn't know it by the scores of some of the games, but we did not take a lot of penalties. I think our speed, our skill continues to get better every year, and guys are hanging on to the puck. So we're not defending as much. Certainly recently, we have not been giving up a lot of shots, and we've had the puck on our stick, and you're not taking penalties when you're not chasing the other team. So I think it's a focus point. We've got some guys that are maybe a little more disciplined than guys that we've had here in the past, and that's not a negative on them. It's just they were wired a little bit different. But we realize, our first series in Duluth Friday night, we took 9 penalties. Well, we didn't give ourselves a chance. You don't get to play offense when you're having to kill 18 minutes in penalties, and certainly it wasn't 18 minutes because we gave up some power play goals too. So it's a focus point for sure to make sure that we're more disciplined. And what we're doing now is we're putting teams under pressure, and they're tending to take more penalties than us.
All right, Coach, thanks for joining us.
Thanks, guys. Good job.
Thank you.
See ya.